I walked into Saul's room that evening with good news and sweaty palms. I know Laurie had said Saul wasn't mad at me, but she was only almost always right. He wasn't around, so I sat down in the chair and thought about the afternoon. Stephen and Annette had surprised me a little bit. They didn't think we could pull off a successful benefit concert without months of lead time, so we had to agree on just practicing for a few weeks and doing an informal free concert at the home. They had also gotten me to commit to practicing every Monday and Wednesday afternoon until 4:30, which they apparently did anyway just for fun, like the mutants they were. So now I really had no life, even if having no life with two other people and my guitar was better than having no life alone in my house. Although it occurred to me that having a life would beat both of those options. Just when I might have started to get depressed about the sorry state of my social status, I heard a resonant from the elevator area. A few seconds later, Saul came in and the fun began. "Hey, look, it's Mr. My compulsory volunteer. Happy New Year. Did you have a nice New Year's Eve after you abandoned me to the lonely fate of the forgotten and the elderly?" "Listen, Saul, I'm sorry I ran out, and I'm sorry I never explained why I was here. But I thought you knew." Alex, you'll learn one day that real apologies don't come with a but in the middle. In the meantime, thank you. Are you going to maybe play for me today?" "No, but I've got big news. In a few weeks, I'm putting on a jazz concert here for everyone who wants to come." "You're putting on a concert? With what musicians?" "Well, there are these two kids at my school who are like prodigies or something. There's a drummer named Stephen and a piano player named Annette, and I'll play guitar. I think it'll be great." "Great? I don't know about. But it should be more entertaining than sitting around waiting for my breathing treatment and wondering whether anybody pished in the hydrotherapy pool." "Wow, thanks for your enthusiasm." Saul is either totally immune to sarcasm or so good at counter-sarcasm that I can never tell whether he's making fun of me. "Don't mention it, boy chick. But I hope you know how much work it is putting on a show." "What do you mean? I've played in shows before. We'll practice, we'll show up, and we'll play, right?" "Well, maybe. If you have the room reserved, and if you have permission to get your event put on the schedule, and if the cheap bastards who run this place are willing to pay all the overtime for the orderlies to get us all down there and back up, and if you have all the power you need, and microphones and extension cords, speakers, lights." Perhaps it would have been a good idea to ask how he knew so much about this stuff, but I had already used up my good idea for the day. "I get the point, Saul. Don't worry, I'll get it done. Trust me." "Trust me," he says. "My grandmother always used to tell me, nish azoi gitch mak zi vs track zich." And that would mean, easier said than done, boy chick. Easier said than done. Okay, Saul. There's another thing I wanted to talk about today. I'm really not a criminal or anything. The only reason I got in trouble was because, well, my parents are divorced and my mom was going out on a date. So I took my mom's car and... Wait a minute. What about the drinking? Okay, I was drinking. But you see, Alex, again with the but. But. Always with the but. A criminal, you're not. You might even be a nice boy. But you did something wrong and you got caught. That's all I need to know. Everything else is just excuses. But, see? You are so frustrating. I know. Thank God I'm also handsome, or who knows how I would have gotten along in the world. January 3rd. Dear Judge Trent, I am pleased to report a new breakthrough in my community service work. Much as I enjoy serving Mr. Lewis, I have come to realize that I could do even more if I set my mind to it. I have decided to arrange and perform a concert of Mr. Lewis's beloved jazz music for the entire resident population at the home. I feel that this will provide an enjoyable cultural experience for the community members there and also give Mr. Lewis something to look forward to as he recovers from some recent health difficulties he has experienced. I told Mr. Lewis of my plan the other day, and he appeared enthusiastic. In just one visit, he wished me a Happy New Year, told me I was a nice boy, and said the concert could be, and I quote, entertaining. Yes, I suppose you could say we are really bonding now. Thank you for a wonderful growth opportunity. Sincerely, Alex Gregory. P.S. There are only 42 hours remaining in my sentence. Have you considered my earlier request to extend my time at the home? I really think Saul would miss me if I stopped visiting him. My first practice session with Stephen and Annette was like being dragged around by a fast horse. Adding to my pleasure was the fact that Laurie was going to show up at some point to watch us. Because, let's face it, if there's a possibility that I might be humiliated completely, Laurie wanted to be in the front row. While we got set up with our instruments, I told Stephen and Annette what I wanted us to play. Basically a bunch of the easiest songs that we already did in jazz band. Between the time crunch and the fact that both Stephen and Annette were so much better than I was, I figured simple was good. Both of them agreed that the list would work, so we were ready to go. They looked at me. Annette said, "Hey Alex, call the first tune." How about Mercy, Mercy, Mercy? They both took out the chart and put it on their music stands. Then they started giving me that "you were an idiot" look. Saul had once referred to it as the fisheye. Again. Stephen asked me in the same voice that kindergarten teachers use with their slowest pupils, "Aren't you going to count it off?" It's weird being in charge. Sure. 1, 2, 3, 4. We started playing, but I knew right away that something was wrong. Annette stopped. "That's too fast, Alex. The song is supposed to have a groove." "Excuse me, hipster girl." "Sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4. Annette was right. The new tempo was better. Stephen had this whole laid-back beat going on. Annette was doing a cool bass line with her left hand and chording with her right. I had the melody and thought I was actually doing a good job with it. Then we got to the solo section, and all hell broke loose. First, Annette soloed while I played just the chords, which should have been easy enough. But then she started playing these funky accents all over the place, and somehow I lost the beat. It was like when you're trying to remember a number, and your friend purposely yells out random sequences of digits to mess you up. Well, Annette messed me up. When she realized I was totally lost, she glanced over and said, 18, 2, 3, 4, 19, 2, 3, 4, so I'd know what measure we were up to. 5 bars later, it was Stephen's turn to make me look like a goon. All of a sudden, Annette was playing the chords again, so I switched over to the melody. But just as I was attempting to get my feel back, Stephen started doing all these weird odd time rolls on the toms with quick little offbeat accents on the cymbals. I almost counted my way through the chaos by concentrating on the steady boom boom of the bass drum until he started messing around with that too. It was hopeless. I was lost in a vast, storm-tossed sea of shifting rhythmic complexities. Of course, at my instant of deepest confusion, Laurie walked in. So she got to Steve whisper to me cuttingly, "Psst, drop out." I stopped playing, and Stephen and Annette continued, playfully turning the rest of the song into a drum and piano conversation. He would play rhythm, she would play it back at him. She would do a tinkling little run on the high notes, he would somehow echo it instantly on the bells of his cymbals. He would go nuts with his bass drum. She would suddenly fire back a flurry of wacky low notes. I was just sitting there, cradling my guitar in my lap. Laurie was shaking her head at the scene. And then, suddenly, Stephen and Annette were playing the main theme of the song in perfect unison. And the song ended with a perfect fade-out. Laurie applauded. I glared. Everyone's eyes were on me. I had to say something. "Well, that one shows promise. What's next?" "You're kidding, right? We need to do that one again from the top. Right, Stephen?" "Yeah, but maybe we should play simpler this time until..." "Until what? Until I develop mental telepathy like you guys have?" "No, just until you learn the music. Are you always this touchy?" Laurie had to pipe up. "Well, yes, Stephen, he is." So we took it from the top, again and again, until I was practically begging for some mercy, mercy, mercy myself. But we did get to the point where I could play through the song without completely self-destructing, which was a plus. We ran through a couple of other songs too, and I managed to fool myself into believing that I was really holding my own. At the end of the rehearsal, Annette gave me a list of things she thought I should focus on while practicing at home. I was thinking, wow, and I thought Laurie was bossy. How does Stephen stand this? But they seemed so happy together, and I had the dating record of a leper, so maybe I was missing something. On the walk home, I kept waiting for Laurie to bust on me about my performance, but she was in a really contemplative mood. Every once in a while this happened, like the time she made me camp out in her backyard when we were 9 and we made up stories about the stars until we both fell asleep. Or once at the beach when she started wondering whether there were 2 other kids in Europe or Africa watching the same waves rolling away from their beach. Tonight's food for thought was whether it was possible to be happily married. Alex, do you think your parents are going to stay together this time? I don't know. Why? Well, I was just thinking about it. I mean, won't the same stuff that drove them apart the first time just drive them apart again? It depends, I guess. I'm not even sure what the problem was in the first place, but maybe they're different now. Don't you think people can change for the better if they want to? I'm not sure. My mom was a miserable wife and mother for us, and now she's trying again with a new husband. So she must think she's changed. Unless she just thinks it was your dad's fault and she'll be the perfect mate for your stepdad. You know, Alex, she probably is the perfect mate for my stepdad. They're both idiots. She got quiet for a minute, and then she blew the hair out of her eyes. Men and women can be happy together, though, right? I mean, somehow, somewhere? Sure, Laura. Look at Stephen and Annette. I think she orders him around so much she should have given him a tip at the end of the rehearsal. But he must love something about her. Alex, can I ask you something? Just did. Ha. Do you think Annette is pretty? I wanted to shout, "You're prettier!" But you never know how Laurie is going to respond to a statement like that, and there's always that sudden use of karate problem she tends to have. So I just said, "Yeah, I guess so. I mean, in a band geek kind of way. Why?" I don't know. Stephen just looks at her like she hung the moon or something. I think it would be great if a guy looked at me that way. I could say staying together for life with somebody who cared about me that much. I care about you that much. Oops, dang. Did I say that out loud? Yeah, but I mean a real guy. I must have had some facial reaction to that one because Laurie backtracked. I mean, you're a real guy and you're good looking and nice to me and funny and, I don't know, great. But you're my Alex. You know. Yeah, I suppose so. But I was a little hurt anyway. You know who I think is really hot? That girl Stephanie Simon from Homeroom. The snotty cheerleader? For real? Oh yes, absolutely for real. You don't think she's a little, I don't know, trashy with tight clothes and everything? Sure, but she has other good points too. Chuckle. And don't you think her face is a little odd looking? Stephanie Simon has a face? I don't think I ever noticed that before. Who knew? At that point, I knew the chop was coming, but I couldn't stop it. That's why Laurie had a black belt, and I just had a lot of bruises. But when Laurie hit me this time, I felt it extra hard, even for her. Ow! Oh, it hurts when I do that. Huh, who knew? We were in front of Laurie's house at that point. So she just flounced away up her driveway, leaving me to wonder how we had gone from a philosophical discussion to me getting pounded in just a few short blocks. I watched her till she got inside. Just before she shut the door, she stuck out her tongue at me, which is weird, because whatever had just happened, I was pretty sure she started it. January 26th. Dear Judge Trent, it is with the greatest pleasure that I humbly extend my invitation for you to attend the first ever Egbert P. Johnson Memorial Home for the Aged Winter Jazz Thingy, an event that will have a fancier title as soon as I think of one. This will be a spectacular concert featuring me on guitar and precocious jazz geniuses Stephen Alper and Annette Watson on drums and piano, respectively. The festivities will begin promptly at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on February 7th at the Recreation Hall on the first floor of the home. I would relish the opportunity to demonstrate to you the sincerity and strength of my newfound enthusiasm for assisting the elderly, as well as my organizational and musical skills. If it is not too much trouble, please let me know as soon as possible whether you will be attending, so that I may reserve you a seat of honor in the front between my mother, with whom you are acquainted, and my good friend, Mr. Solomon Lewis. Thank you. Yours truly, Alex Gregory. January 30th. Dear Alex, your concert sounds like a wonderful event as well as a marvelous learning experience for all involved. However, I am afraid I have to decline your invitation to attend due to some unfinished private business of my own. I look forward to hearing of your great success in this worthy endeavor. Sincerely, Judge J. Trent.